I think I got it. Hey everybody, this is Kudo, and I am back with more Rogue Trader. Woo! Sorry, I'm also playing a mobile game and have guild stuff happening. But, anyways, we are back with Miss Kudo von Valancius. If it'll let me. Maybe. Maybe. Controller? Can we turn on? No? Dead? Why dead? But you're plugged in. I don't. Try you, maybe? Okay, maybe? Can I maybe? Oh no. Let me check. Let me check. Yeah, that's all there working good. Oh, okay, good. We're here. Yeah. Okay. Tuning plasma thrusters. Abelard?
Lord Captain?
Abelard surveys you briskly but meticulously as though he is inspecting you for shortcomings, then offers a courteous nod. How dare you? I never, Abelard. I never. You may call me my
I
first
thank
name.
you for the honor, but I must decline. As a former military officer, I believe in the importance of order in all things, including the chain of command. You are the Lord Captain, my direct superior. I am not prepared to address you in any way other than as regulation dictates.
Oh, okay. What the heck? Sorry, dealing with scuff, of course. Okay. So, Thank you for the honor, but I must decline. Let's talk about things that
A
may be
noble
useful for me.
aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation in the Kronos Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words, the Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels.
Okay.
Until recently, the Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Okay, who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Kronos Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness.
Ooh.
Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them.
Okay.
If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
We like them. Kunrad, our previous Masters of Whispers, what can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight.
Okay, I gotta fix... I'm noticing on the stream that I'm not... Game capture... I was gonna say, it's not taking up as much room as it has a right to, I should say. And I think if I'm going to be covering anybody, I should probably cover up my own picture instead of Abelard. Will move me to the other side. People can see them. Seems important. Game capture. We'll move you all the way over. There we go. Much better. Give you guys more view of what's going on. Okay.
We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valatsius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake.
Well, yeah.
If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery.
Sorry, hold on. I have 2 instances of audio going on.
He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
Okay.
As you wish, Lord Captain. Lord Captain.
I will ask him about himself as another time because I am anxious to actually get into the meat of this story. I don't need tutorials from the star systems anymore. I figured it out last night, actually. Okay. So we have some choices here. It wants us to go to Rikid Minoris or to this. Let's see. Let's look at our journal. We can get more crew on Rikid Minoris. We need a new engine seer. And a new navigator, which one may be found on the Navis Nobilite station. Okay. So I'm guessing that's the Navis Nobilite station? No, this is probably the Navis Nobilite station. Okay, let's start there. Lord Captain, Astropathic Choir Master Zachary Weiss is asking to speak to you via a private channel. Greetings, your ladyship. I can report that the choir is listening tirelessly to the Immaterium in hope of picking up voices from the Dynasty ships or worlds. However, we have heard something horrifying instead. Amid the Immaterium's tumult, something is screaming. This scream is driving your choir mad. Until it stops, we have no hope of contacting any of the Dynasty's worlds. It is coming from the Reichhead System's Astropathic Station. What is the nature of this scream? We do not know, your ladyship, but it has brought the Immaterium to a boil. It has always been a violent, roaring ocean that could spell doom to any who would consider stepping into its waters. Now, however, it has become a cradle of madness, where expelled images fuse together, twisting and cackling, before crashing into minds of all who perceive it. A mighty warp storm, of the likes of which I cannot recall, rages in the Imperium, and it fills me with terror. We are going to pay a visit to that station. Thank you, your ladyship. Lord Captain, reporting the heralds of the Navis Nobilite continue to maintain Vox silence. Perhaps due to Iraq 5 being off-limits to visitors, we intercepted signals from the beacons drifting in the orbit station. The demands are clear. We are told to turn the ship around immediately. We've also detected an accumulation of space debris near the station's docks. Presumably it remains interplanetary shuttles. Perhaps the esteemed Navis Nobilite House requires aid and therefore cannot respond? Order the auger crew to scan the station. Yes, Lord Captain. The officers from the auger crew performed a full scan of the station, but the information is imprecise. They note wave distortions of unclear genesis that are throwing off most of the readings. We were able to ascertain that the reactor core of the station is still active, but many compartments are unpowered and fully depressurized. The signs of biological activity are largely present in the central module, which means the station has not been abandoned. So the question remains, why are the esteemed navigators heralds ignoring us? Order the crew to commence docking with the station. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Affirmative, Lord Captain. We do not know what is happening at the station, so you will have to look for the steam navigator's blind. Dock safely, and may the God Emperor light your path. Oh, I'm ready. Come on, you guys.
Pathetic worm. You dare to argue with your master?
It was not you whom I swore to serve within these walls. My lips are sealed.
Confess. What was the old man's last command? What are you planning?
Give up, Keeper. You have lost this battle. Again.
We're getting nowhere with these ones, sir. Permission to execute them.
Immortal Emperor, deliver your servants from peril. Prayers will not help you, servant of the damned. In the name of House Orselio, I command you to execute the infidels. That was no good. Not a step further. Master, we have some strange guests on the station. A tall man stops you with a gesture when you approach. Blood is trickling down the pearly scales of his weary face. And not just his own blood. Two jet-black, unblinking eyes are watching your every move, and the third one, the mark of the navigator's fate, is menacingly pulsing behind the lowered lid in the middle of his forehead. Step back, or I will unleash all the horrors of the Sea of Souls upon you. Emperor, be my witness. Abelard, if you would be so kind. Before you stands her ladyship the road trader, Kudolia von Valancius, heir to the greatest protectorate in the Kronos expanse and bearer of the sacred warrant of trade. Allow me to point out that Nobilite custom requires the Lord Navigator to introduce himself first, but given the unusual circumstances on the station, her ladyship the rogue trader is willing to turn a blind eye towards your hostility, but just this once. In this case, I shall turn a blind eye to your unceremonious invasion, but just this once. Very well, allow me to introduce myself. Before you stands Felic Christoph August, keeper of this place. So you did not arrive to offer support to the traitors? This is great news. Having said that, you must understand that Urok 5 is a holy sanctum for House Orselio, and the path to it is only revealed to a select few. It pains me to say you are not on the guest list. What's happening on the station? Where did all these corpses come from? Betrayal, a most banal thing in the life of Nobilite, don't you think? I was stabbed in the back by my closest friend, Theobald Orselio, the second keeper of Urok 5, and my mentor. On his instructions, my own people sabotaged the generators, blew up the shuttles, and brutally massacred the loyal servants of my mistress. Most unforgivably, they dared to take her prisoner, greedy scum. I swear by the throne's light their souls will perish in the darkest void. Felix falls silent for a few moments and then furiously slams the end of his staff into the floor. The madmen have captured Lady Cassia and are now torturing her upstairs while we are idly chatting down here. Help me rescue her or be gone, but waste no more of my precious time. Still have questions concerning the situation on the station. Our idle chatter will not save Lady Cassia, but if you need to be sure of something before you can help, so be it. Why did you not respond to the messages from Rykard Minoris? Sacrosanct. It is the holy domain of the Navis Nobili. It is forbidden for commoners from the world below. And we hoped to solve the crisis on our own, but when the situation spiraled out of control, we could not establish contact. 'Twas because the trailers had disabled their equipment. My men have reported that the station is in a deplorable state. Trust me, I should know. Everything happened too quickly. There were dozens of reports of accidents, victims, and failing systems, but the only precious thing about this station is Lady Cassia's life. Everything else is futile and can be easily replenished. Tell me about your mistress. Regretfully, I'm not allowed to discuss my mistress, whether with her retinue or the outsiders. She will tell you about herself personally, if she feels like it. That is, assuming she survives. I'm begging you not to waste any more of our precious time, for it is running out. Enough questions. What kind of help you need? I would never ask you for such a favor under different circumstances, and yet Lady Acacia's well-being is above all. I haven't got many people left. Excuse me, and my wounds are too deep to act with precision and swiftness, but you may actually succeed. In order to ascend the mistress's chambers, you will need to remake a holy relic sanctified with the blood of Lady Urselio herself. This is the control rod for the elevator's machine spirit. I have one part, and the other was lost during the mutiny, but even this relic will be of no use unless the elevator mechanism is powered. Why should I help you? You came to the station for a reason. House Urselio will not be able to help you until the current crisis is resolved. But if you aid us, I promise we will reach an agreement that you will find satisfying, be it riches, influence, or the power of our navigators. How do I remake the control rod? I have a phylactery containing the mistress's blood. It needs to be taken to the laboratory, which is located behind one of the reliquary doors. The most ancient of sacred mechanisms will help to rebuild the rod. The tech priests ceaselessly perform the rites of appeasement so that the machine spirit would serve the house in its time of need. The fatal hour is upon us now. How am I supposed to power up the elevator? The station's main cogitator is situated in the guard room. Just enter the correct command sequence and the sacred mechanism will do the rest. If it's so simple, why don't you do it yourself? I never said the feat would be easy to accomplish. The path to the laboratory and the guard room is blocked by the very same madmen who took over the station. They will not negotiate and are not afraid of displeasing the Navis Nobili or incurring the Emperor's wrath. They bow only to brute strength, something which I currently happen to lack. So what have you decided, descendant of the Von Valancia's line? I will help you, if not for the sake of profit, but for the good of the Imperium. You should hurry then. We will stay here and hold the line and lick our wounds. Good luck, rogue trader, and may the Emperor's light be with you.
Follow my lead. White. Bright, pure color. And it's all riddled with horrible veins that carry the poison of fear and pain throughout its body. Who are... Why are you crying?
If the witch is talking about the enemies of humanity who set upon this abode of noble navigators, then our weapons will soon dispel their wicked misery.
Yep.
The whispers told me how.
Fused with improvised weapons. I don't like that. Tools, scissors, and cutlery? That doesn't sound
Unexpected
like
result.
people that have rebelled. That sounds like people who were attacked.
Victory awaits.
Okay.
They say a little bit of humility never hurt anyone.
Unlink.
I help others better
Unpause.
themselves by wholeheartedly humiliating them at every step.
Okay.
I tire of idleness. Let's move.
That doesn't look like it would have hurt anybody. Would you
The
examine
Emperor
it?
favors me today.
Most of these unfortunate souls took their own lives by slicing their guts wide open. Gross. But why? I'm glad we can just loot this place while we're saving it. Stand firm. We must not let the miscreants defile House Orselio. Fire at will for House Orselio. No, no, no.
Submit, and you'll die quickly.
For the Emperor!
Ooh. Okay. Options. That would be under game, wouldn't it? Here we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're slicers today. I'm ready.
But of course. Was that you? Or...
Damn. Okay.
Stay vigilant.
Ooh, that's so fast now. Damn.
Break them around.
Stop mocking me.
Let's see how they respond to this. Suits my purposes. Nothing I can't do.
No, not quite there. Do I have a gun? I don't even... Yeah, I have a gun.
So
Awesome.
opposing me was your biggest mistake. All too easy.
Okay. Abelard, get up
My
here.
place is at the fore.
Yeah, just get
At
up
your
there,
beck and
Abelard.
call. Onwards! Why is it?
Haha! Ow.
Follow my fate.
Just a minor setback.
Did you kill your own Never mind. You killed your own person, that's fine.
God Emperor, move through me! Be the fire in my heart! I'll do it. The enemies of the Emperor will be undone! Doubt is weak.
Perfect.
Follow my lead.
We're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
Cover me! Anything else? Will do. But of course.
Stay vigilant. Weapons at the ready. Follow my lead.
Why did I not foresee this?
Okay, I'll heal you, but I gotta
Never
shoot them
wavered
too,
in the face of
guys.
adversity.
But you'll shoot me. It's what I gotta do, man.
You didn't stand a chance. Opposing you was your biggest mistake.
Yeah, I'll say.
Nothing I can't do.
Damn.
I'll pass. Not my specialty. I don't have time for this. Absolutely not.
What?
I'll pass.
There we go. That's
Not
fine. I
a
can shoot
problem
him.
for me.
Pew pew.
A tactically sound approach. No matter the cost.
Yeah, get up there, Abelard.
I will reduce to dust.
Hell yeah.
Victory is imminent.
Yeah, we don't have anyone else to attack, so.
Faith shields me!
Argenta, take care of that guy.
Faith is a prayer.
What is this foreboding?
Damn, just shy, huh?
That is
Oh, but I
not
can
my
scream?
destiny.
No. I cannot scream. I give you that.
On it. No can
No,
do.
no line of soup.
Not
Soup.
this Grier's
No
job.
line of sight. It's okay, because you know who does have line of sight? Yeah, you're done.
So you didn't stand a chance. It's about time.
Yeah, I'm definitely clipping that part where he healed and then shot him immediately after. That was perfect.
I did fine.
Ooh. What's this? Good major domo attempts to nurture only the finest of flowers in the garden that is their master's life. A faithful servant will never offer their mistress the same dress presented earlier in the cycle. What? Damn.
None
Spoiled
shall
much,
stand
Cassio?
in my way.
Okay. Let's go this way.
Something of interest.
Ooh. Meteorite chunk. Awesome. What's that? Nice. Ooh, it has more armor penetration though. Ugh. Open door, sure. Sophisticated mechanical lock. No! My weakness, sophisticated mechanical locks.
We need to investigate. I'm always ready.
I thought they were gonna still run through. I was gonna be like, man,
Pain and duty go hand
what
in
is
hand.
this? Ooh. Interesting.
A new
Navigator
challenge
flesh
for me?
sample, huh?
The crew continues to mourn Lady Theodora. I fear it may affect the performance of their duties in service of the Lord Captain. It's a worthwhile investment.
Let the people grieve. Lady Theodora was with us so long that we started to believe she was immortal. I will endure.
Mm-hmm.
The premonition runs true.
Who are you? Did you hear the screams? Move! Sir, are you alright? We can't hear anything. Now I see you are in league with them. Is this an insurrection? Yes, indeed. Death to the traitors. What? Sir, what are you doing? Get a hold of yourself, sir. I know you all are traitors. Traitors, all of you. They told me. They whispered. Hey, who are you? That was interesting.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Mmm.
Over. That wasn't so difficult.
What's that? Keeper Theobald graciously agreed to provide samples of his skin growth so we could study the influence of the rebellious immaterium on the flesh of the novice nobiliate. Just as we thought, navigators are positively resistant to the restless currents of the warp. The God Emperor truly does shield some people by giving people against corruption and misery, but let us get back to the study of mortal flesh. Other servant will be carried in shortly. I must ready the organ extraction equipment. Adamantine dust and black water. This was the worst idea that could have entered my mind. God Emperor be praised. I am lucky to still have my head on my shoulders after this reckless experiment. Nonetheless, we did make an important discovery. The adamantine seems to protect the frail flesh of the lowborn to a degree. Having said that, not even the Mosserator can handle its temper, so we should probably introduce a more complex compound into the formula. All of the data related to the experiment were recorded to datacrypt K040H. I'll get back to them later. Excuse me. Once I am done with experiment H41K, okay. After I have I mentioned that the chunk of meteorite found by the Keeper Select subjects is completely useless, although its shining granules could be used to make new paints for the child. Yes, I think I'm going to do exactly that. Interesting.
Victory awaits.
Yeah, these guys are all warp afflicted. The cogitator's vid screen is covered in cracks and stained with dried blood. The buttons, switches, and levers were ripped out of the control panel with exceptional cruelty and scattered around the sacred mechanism that now sparks and hisses in agony, still refusing to perish. You turn a few of the remaining dials and pull the activation lever. The cracked vid screen of the sacred engine flickers. The cogitator emits creaks and groans from the lumens oscillate at random. It takes a while, but eventually the machine spirits do grant you access to the cogitator systems. Request data on the navigators. Felique Orselio alive. Theobald Orselio alive. Deceased. 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 Huh. The child, location, upper chambers, biometric parameters, rapid heartbeat, elevated body temperature, stress level exceeds the permissible limits, status unknown, error, attention, calming procedures advised, attention, upper chambers, inaccessible, error, the control rod is not present. If the rod has been misplaced, immediately contact a station keeper or the Navis Laborium custodian. Partially corrupted, but you managed to access the residual logs for examination. This is Officer A282. Do you copy? Several generators overheated on the lower levels. Chambers A to D are unpowered. The tech priest crew sent to investigate the problem is not responding. Requesting back. The officer's speech is interrupted by shouting and the recording abruptly ends. Officer H123 speaking. 200 servants have perished due to the explosive decompression of the living quarters. We have located traces of mechanical interference. The preliminary cause is officer sabotage. Crews 5, 6, and 9 are cut off from the main compartment. We have enough oxygen for 20 minutes. May the Emperor save our souls. Senior station officers, this is the captain speaking. We have attempted to contact the Winterscale Scion for help, but something is jamming the signal. We never received a reply and cannot be sure it was even sent in the first place. A rescue team is not coming. We are on our own, so remain vigilant. Anyone could be a traitor. You can ring anyone. If you are in doubt, shoot to kill. No good. As the servants close to the child have started butchering one another again, an order came from above to have their remains reprocessed. The negotiations with Winterscale were a success. A new batch of servants will arrive in 10 moves. Escort them to the laboratory at once. It is imperative that we increase the new retainer's resistance to the child's powers. Data expunged. Uh-oh. Regent Aranto or Celia must have left. Living quarters L10, L16, L28 depressurized. Warning, unable to access the station's docking system. Warning, energy regulation system. Unknown error. The station will transfer over to emergency power. Immediate evacuation of the facility is advised. Warning. You easily bypass the restrictions imposed by the sacred machine. The cogitators' overloaded processors were unhappily. Most of the encrypted data has been wiped. You find traces of the Proj protocol. Recovery is impossible, but a list of the most recent commands having been embedded in the machine spirit's consciousness now flits across the screen in a single creeping line. Child, delete, picked, flow, disable, access code, annul, station controls, delete, activate, shuttle, self-destruct, purge, command log. Exploring the archives for a while longer yields a surviving excerpt from the guard captain's report mentioning that the security system has recently been reconfigured without his knowledge. His comment reads, "Only the keepers of the station have access to the life support system, but Keeper Theobald has not left the child's side, and neither had I. Could it be? Yeah, that Felix betrayed them?" No! Data corrupted processing error. Is required. One of these is required. Oh geez. Oh geez. Let's try this one. Oh. These are all just different door codes. Hell yeah. We did it.
It's about time.
We restored the power to the elevator and we also opened that door, so now I want to go see where that goes. Goods. Ooh. Oh, there's...
Duty prevails.
Synthetic amniotic fluid pools across the floor. Caustic stench of regions sears your nostrils and broken glass crunches underfoot. Somebody wanted to destroy the laboratory or find something. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's the other one.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Psi crystal, okay. Biogel, black water, unidentified acid.
What is that?
Cool stuff. flesh sample. Transducer, remake the control rod goods. What are you? Adamantine. They all just lost their minds. Please don't kill me. Okay. Experimental section. The child's influence on the psycho-emotional state of various representatives of the Imperium. Access level of cellular T prime. Experiment age 45451. Low-born male. Test subject exhibits signs of acute stress. The majority perished of blood loss within the day, being placed by the laboratory chamber due to the inability to halt the discharge of ocular secretions. Ew. And the body's subsequent replacement of these secretions with the connective tissue of the internal environment. Ew. The individual with the greatest resistance to the sacred child's resonance died several chronoturns later. Extensive wounds in the abdomen, presumably inflicted by a jagged piece of metal. Death was caused by strangulation with the subject's own intestines. Gross. The subject's final shouts exhibited concerns over abdominal tentacles and void worms. Subject final sounds exhibited concerns over abdominal tentacles, void worms, hallucinations prescribed to their own internal organs. Lowborn female, H45452. The test subject died within an hour of entering the laboratory adjacent to the child's chambers. Most had their tongues bitten off by the jaws, badly dislocated. Some test subjects lacked the physical strength to separate it from the rest of their skull. Cause of death, severe head injuries caused by impacting the walls or the floor. Experiment H45453. Paralyzed stoop patient who lost the ability to speak due to the shock caused by manufacturer accident male. Test subject noted a tingling sensation in the deteriorated tissue. The test subject smiled and started humming, most likely trying to carry some plebeian tune, and then attempted to address the servant who brought him food. A lengthy conversation was prohibitive due to the lack of servant's tongue. Huh. Experiment H45454. A defective offspring of Lord P. Arcelio pronounced unfit for studying the high art of navigation, owing to the mutation of tissues required for installation of the obligatory augmentations that merge one's consciousness with the vessel. Additionally, they displayed an overall feebleness of mind, female. Mirrored the child's actions for 3 days. On the 4th day, the child became upset after hearing the news about the ultimately demise of Amos Contarelli, an officer of her personal guard. As a result, one of the test subjects peeled away several layers of tissue from her face and died from the resulting massive heart attack. The last surviving test subject was executed for attempting to contact the child. Jeez! What in the horror?
Follow my lead.
Ugh. More and more servants are being influenced by the immaterium, and it has nothing to do with the child's more frequent tantrums. We've discovered that the corrupted flesh of the mutated reacts most unusually to the crystals we purchased from the Winterscale dynasty. I strongly recommend finely grinding the regent to catalyze the reaction. Do not use acid under any circumstances. Sorry, I'm laughing because I think that's what I used in my personal save. Is I did not read any of this, and so I just tried to do the experiment. That's why I'm thoroughly reading it now, and I had used acid in the experiment, I'm sure. Trust me, you will not like having to tend to the burns for the next dozen turns in a row. This calls for something more basic. Tech Priest Blessed Bless the data crypt H41 OK for the calculated number of prone returns. Hmm.
None shall stand in my way.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we want a navigator flesh sample.
Victory awaits!
We don't want that one. We want this one. Don't use acid at any circumstance. Let's try the black water. Let's save.
A new challenge for me. Halt! I noticed something.
Oh, this will just grind it, so that's the paint. And that's the adamantine. Yeah, we got the black water in there, right? Yeah. So let's try. Let's try that one. Nope. Okay. Load. Now let's try it. We tried adamantine, so we'll try the glow one this time.
Something of interest.
Nope. Okay. Then instead of black water, we'll try the base one, because they did say something about using a base instead. And then if that doesn't work, I'm gonna Google it.
It's about time.
Okay, so we're gonna load and then we're gonna look it up because I did not get enough info. I feel like I'm on the right track, but I'm missing something. So, okay. Okay, Uric 5 lab puzzle solution. Okay, so I'm not supposed to use the navigator's flesh sample at all. That's the problem. So if we do...
I'll lay claim to the stars.
There's 2 different recipes that we can do. And I'm going to be doing the mutated flesh sample. No. The other one, just the regular flesh sample, my bad. Flesh sample. Data connector is KO4OH. So this one. Unidentified acid. And adamantine.
What is that? Victory awaits! Something of interest.
Yay! Hell yeah. And then we can make the other one, it looks like, because it was all different stuff. Mutated flesh sample. H41 okay. Biogel. And crystal dust. Yep. What? Huh. Well, we did the first one, so I'm happy.
Shall stand in my way.
We can get out of here now. Map. Oh, there was something else in there I forgot. Just to put that in there. Perfect. Out of here.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Hmm? Head back to Philic. I do appreciate the auto pathing. It's super nice.
Follow my lead.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
Adira suddenly cocks her head and drives her nails deep into her shoulder. Then she starts mumbling, "The crossroads. There are two paths, both stained with blood, both leading to the accursed eye. They all wear masks so poor and flimsy. They fall at the slightest touch, one blind man to another traitor." Who is who? Who do you see behind the masks? My whispers are giggling nastily. They will not speak, the naughty little things. They say that tearing off the masks is your concern. Tell me more. What paths? I cannot say. One is paved with blind faith, the other with hatred and treachery. Both lead to tragedy. You simply have to decide what kind of tragedy you like most. Thank you. Everything's clear now. The station has enough problems without your sorcery, Psyker. I have many questions regarding what happened on the station. You think they are worth the life of my mistress? Who is the child mentioned in the documents and reports found on the station? You meddled with something that should have been left alone? The child is what the station servants call Lady Cassia. For the commoners' dirty mouths must not sully her name by uttering it. You see, it is not beneficial for all servants to have their vocal organs altered. Some prove more useful to when they are still able to speak. The servants alone cannot be blamed for what happened on the station. Most corpses I discovered were either unarmed or feeble. Did you really think mere servants could plan a coup? The senior officers are just as guilty. Half my guards butchered one another because they suspected treason. As for the real culprit, the coup was staged by those closest to the mistress. Destroying the shuttle, shutting off the power, and disabling the security system, too many things require special access. Access available only to the keeper of the station. As I'm sure you are aware, there were two keepers of the station. Your guess is absolutely correct. Theobald Orselio, the demented old man, assessed with Lady Cassia and her power, and also the one to blame for the woes that have befallen Urok 5 and our noble line. I listened to a recording of a private conversation between the station's officers. You were very lenient towards them, purposely neglecting the security protocols. I was lenient, this is true, and in the end I paid a steep price for it. Just look at the destruction around us. The insurgents have left almost nothing of my home. I saw the security captain's report. Only the keepers have access to the station system, but Theobald stayed by his side the entire time and could not have initiated the self-destruct protocol. Which means he did it before the report was filed, or maybe after, or you dare suspect me of what happened? The one who is going out of his way to preserve what little there is still left? By the God Emperor, will you keep these slanderous accusations to yourself? Enough. I would not trust you as far as I could throw you, Philip. It really is time to end this. I was hoping to find an ally in you, but now you are merely delaying the sorrowful end of your story. Prepare to die.
Take a knee and bow before me.
None of you shall survive!
Yeah, I don't know, Philip. No, Abelard and Kudo could stay there, that's fine. Yep. No, Adira should go back. Argenta can go back.
Nothing I can't do. All you need to watch and learn. Not a problem.
Rejoice in battle! I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt.
Moving out.
My prescience has failed me.
It will be done. Indeed. That's not the Seneschal's job.
Is it Abelard?
Someone else can do this. I will do my duty. At your beck and call.
Okay, Adira.
Will do. Was that you? Or... Will do, be gone.
Why is it?
My faith strengthens me.
Stop it!
Onward!
You guys killed him yourself? Ha! I feel robbed.
Not my specialty.
Damn, I went the wrong way. Oh well.
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it.
One at a time!
Follow my lead. An exemplary strike.
I'm not so sure. I need to bed well.
High momentum.
Past you, miscreant! Moving out! Ah! Another clean strike! Absolutely not. My time is now! Opposing me was your biggest mistake.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Suits my purposes.
Guided by faith. As the Emperor commands, I act. Faith
Run and
without
gun.
deeds is worthless.
Get him, Argenta.
Doubt nothing can escape
Yeah.
the Emperor's judgment.
Follow my lead.
There is movement in the Empyrean. On it. My prescience has failed me.
I don't have time for this. I shall not fear. Or
Yeah.
a new challenge for me.
Bunch of bastards. Alright, let's get a navigator! Oops, I didn't want to leave. I need to read better. Yeah, go up, 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 up. No, Cassia, it's okay. You can stop crying now. The pale figure with unnaturally long limbs covers her face with her hands, which are deformed with talon-like nails. Her deathly pale face is coated with blood that continually streams from her scarlet misted eyes. Her spiny gills, slightly hidden under her disheveled hair, twitch nervously at your approach. Only now do you notice the third eye on the young maiden's forehead, hidden by a jeweled ornament, and when your eyes meet, you sense overwhelming soul-smothering power. You are enveloped in despairing grief, and an invisible hand closes around your throat, cutting off your breath. Your limbs seem filled with lead, your heart hammers in your chest, and the desire to turn and flee. From this room, from the station, almost gets the better of you. At the last moment, you master your emotions, and your will pushes back against the illusion, forcing it to retreat. Ow, ow, ow! As if my own little pals weren't bad enough, now this one's barging into my head. Somebody stop her! Heresy! Argenta looks at the tall figure with a strange mixture of anger and sadness. She then lowers her head and her white hair veils her face. Lady Cassia, I'm here to help you. Please calm yourself. What is happening? Was someone calling my name? Are the betrayers dead already? And you, who are you? Kudalia von Valancius, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Pardon my manners, Kudalia. I did not expect to make such a gracious acquaintance in such a time of great sorrow for our house. What is this? I feel faint. The heavy-set old man who has been kneeling nearby erupts into low sobs, his eyes swollen from crying. Dart desperately around the room as though the veil of ignorance has been ripped away from him. The child, Lady Cassia, where are you? Sacred child, throne preserved. Despite his venerable age, the navigator leaps up and rushes to the young woman's side. You! The old man shifts, revealing his face to you. It is threaded with jet black veins, and his bulging, milky eyes bear a striking resemblance to those of a dead fish. A sickly sweet scent assaults your nostrils, as if the old man's flesh is rotting inside his decaying husk. Ew. My eyes failed me, for they are unable to make you out as either enemy or ally. I warn you, one wrong move, and I will bring the wrath of House Urselio down upon your head. Watch out, Captain. This one's so deranged that it's making the whispers shriek like crazy. He might just open that eye of his. Threatening the head of the dynasty is a grave offense, esteemed whoever you are. I mean you no harm. I came to seek the navigator's aid. I'll grant that you do not look like pirates who have come coveting the riches of a wreck station, or like scoundrels in Felix service, so who are you? Abelard, introduce us. Her ladyship rogue trader Kudalia von Valancius, heir to the greatest protectorate in the Coronus expanse, and bearer of the sacred warrant of trade, extends her greetings. Another rogue trader in our corner of the galaxy. How interesting. Your kind always makes an appearance in desperate times, ready to cut a deal that benefits one side alone. Given that you have not so far drawn your weapons, your intentions are probably peaceful. And so House Orsilio now asks a service of you. Save the life of the child in exchange for future cooperation. Do not hurry to answer. Think on it. You can make yourself an ally or an enemy of our house today if you decide. What service do you ask of me? Save the child. Take her away from the station. I fear I have not long left. A bluish rivulet trickles down the old man's chin, and he wipes the mutated blood brusquely away with his sleeve. You lick strange burns covering his flesh under his clothing. The slightest movement must be causing him unbearable pain. Save the child and deliver her safely to Regent Aranto, acting head of House Orselio in the Coronis Expanse. Rest assured that the reward will be worth your effort. I know we came here for a navigator, but after everything we've seen, I've got some reservations about this girl. Argenta looks at Cassia and a painful furrow appears on her brow. Such a fragile thing with such a heavy burden on her shoulders. I want to know what happened between you and Felix. Felix is my wayward student. He came to Uruk V as a callow youth. I personally mentored him and trusted him with the care of the child. He was like a son to me, but he proved to be just another traitor. He sought to steal our most precious treasure, the heir of our house, our sacred child, to revel in power with others like him, casting our house into the abyss, to pervert the centuries-long traditions of our family. You can see the fruits of his villainy for yourself. He decided he was not bound by his duties to the legacy of our greatest, our novators, Tisiphone Orselio, who led our house to prosperity for countless years. Foolish boy, the renegades clouded his mind. They sought to seize control of the dynasty before the sacred child had come of age and taken up the novator's throne. Philip accused you of treachery, Theobald. Why should I trust your words? Defending myself before strangers, I never thought I would fall so low. If the child's life were not at stake, very well, I have no choice or proof of my innocence. I can give you my word as a member of the Navis Nobilite. If the honest word of an honorable man counts for anything with you, I guarded this station against the calamity and incursions from without. To the best of my ability, I forced the wardens to strictly observe security protocols. I personally selected every servant and faithfully protected the child during the coup. Cassia shall come with me. Good. That is good. But do allow us to say our proper farewells.
Wake up, my mistress, my sacred child. It is all over now. It is over.
What happened? You. I remember you. Have you come to save us?
Child, please, listen to me very carefully. One last time. You will now embark on a voyage with this lady to rejoin the house and its regent in the Coronis Expanse. I will not be able to accompany you on this journey.
No, not you too. Don't leave me alone in this violet-brown haze. You're coming with me. Your mistress is giving you an order. Do you hear me?
A hot wave of despair that is not yours washes over you. Your palms sweat and your heart freezes in panic.
Mistress, I fear this will be your only order that I dare to disobey. I am the keeper of Uruk V, and alas, I have less than a day left in me. Allow me to serve you one last time and honor my final duty to House Orselio. I will remain on the station and destroy the secrets it holds.
Oh, Theobald. What are you going to do to me?
Yeah, let's be honest. Lady Cassia, let us aid one another. Become my navigator, and I shall restore you to House Orselio at the earliest opportunity.
Do not fear what is to come, child. You are ready to guide any vessel. I know this because I taught you myself. And it is difficult to imagine more worthy company than a rogue trader. But remember, your safety is of paramount importance. Get to the Great Regent and fulfill your destiny.
I beg your pardon, but what about my servants? Yurak 5 is still full of people loyal to House Orselio.
All who can be saved will be given succor on board my ship.
Accompanying a rogue trader on their travels is an honor for any navigator. Let us go. I can no longer bear the sight of the deathly pale shadows that drape the bodies of the fallen.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Yay! Lord Captain, Lady Navigator, welcome aboard. The Sanctum Navis has been prepared for the communion ritual, but if the Lady Navigator wishes to rest in her quarters first... Your heart starts beating furiously, your breath comes short and choppy, and your fingertips tingle unpleasantly. You notice that Vigdis is shivering slightly, and the crew are glancing around in puzzlement, searching for the source of this sudden wave of unease. Without even looking at the Voxmaster, Cassia waves her away. First, I wish to speak with the rogue trader. Leave us. Of course. When you are ready for the ritual, please let me know. Cassia sweeps her pensive gaze over Vigdis, then lowering her lashes slightly, turns to you. What did you wish to speak about? Before I begin the ritual, I wish to look once again into the eyes of the woman whose fame is so great it managed to penetrate the impregnable walls of Yurok 5 long before we ever met. It truly is you, Kudalia, the person whose whole expanse in Colossus sector are talking about, the whole expanse in Palace sector are talking about, and now a rogue trader as well. I have not yet thanked you for saving me on the station. My thoughts were clouded with so much mournful ash when Theobald's heart stopped, but you acted honorably and did not exploit me in my wretched position, and for that I am immeasurably grateful. I am so deeply grateful that you saved my servants, especially my valet. Uve served on the station for more than 5 years, much longer than any who preceded him. He knows how to properly attend to me during journeys through the Immaterium, and what to serve me for breakfast. His presence envelops me in a cloak of amber. But now, I am ready to go to the Sanctum Navis and perform the sacred rite. I require brushes, canvas, and the best paints you have on board, but no red. I shall ensure all the necessary supplies are delivered to the Sanctum Navis. I shall take my leave of you for the duration of the rite. I ask that you do not follow me. Few can survive the gaze of my warp eye when it is opened. Lord Captain, I will oversee the open channel between Lady Navigator and the bridge, and may the Emperor's light help us all. Initiating communion ritual. Come here, Oof. The low sob of the servant, the rhythmic drip of liquid on the canvas, the faint whisper of the brush. Go! Footsteps hurrying away. I see violet vortexes lashing an ocean with million flails, and umber shadows spinning over the surface in a fiery distance, a storm rising above foaming waters, armor dust drowning in the fog. The path from one end to another cannot be seen. And here beyond the wall of glass, a daughter forsaken by her father yearns for her brother, and the sun's pale disk goes a tireless pursuit of her. Of her? No. Of me. Its frozen rays lie that spring is here. The light is deadened. The great ruler is gone. The Voxmaster recoils at Cassia's words and accidentally snaps one of the cogitator levers. The panel beneath her finger emits sparks and the Voxcaster falls silent. She quickly flips a series of switches and bows guiltily. My abject apologies for cutting off the broadcast, Lord Captain. I have never heard this warp speaking through a navigator before. The connection is restored now. It will not happen again. Voxmaster, see to it that you receive 5 lashes for the show of clumsiness. No. Soul-shedding screams drown out the Vox transmission like the servants of the Sanctum Navis are howling and shrieking like a wild beast, moaning in pain, their throats raw from the strain, and then sudden silence. The dull thud of dropping bodies proclaims their fate. It appears the servants were part of the Lady Navigator's rite. As it was for her predecessor, I will arrange for the bodies to be removed from the Sanctum Navis after the ritual, or what is left of them. Rogue Trader, I fear that I have unfortunate news. Endless blackness has spread across the canvas, dividing what should be whole in two, and my sight cannot glimpse the light of the Emperor as clearly as before. I cannot turn around. My brush only draws me onward. The way is blocked. You hear a heavy exhale, rustling fabric, and metallic clicking. By the Emperor's grace, the ritual was successful. Your vessel's temperament presented a challenge. Its cold steel grip did not allow me to breathe freely for even a second. It was as if the depths of the ship housed not only machine spirits, but something other. Now I will retreat to my chambers to recover my strength. Send for me if you have need of me. Lord Captain, congratulations on acquiring a navigator. Please spare me a few moments of your time, as there are several matters that require your attention. First of all, I wish to report the condition of the station, Iraq 5. Um, Had you opted to begin your visit to the Riken system at the different destination, the station could have become critically unstable. Fortunately, the decision to immediately visit the representatives of the Navis Nobilite bought us precious time. We could either focus our efforts on disassembling the station and procuring technological components for our own vessel, or attempt to save as many valuables as we can. Our ship is pretty weak right now. 300 scrap. Yeah, I think that's the answer. With your permission, I would also like to remind you that we are still looking for an Engineer Prime Both the vessel and its machine spirits are in desperate need of oversight by an experienced tech priest. We are also missing some crew, and much more importantly, we have not yet located Heinrich von Kolox, the right hand of the Lord Inquisitor. Now we know for certain he was not at Urak 5, so we should keep this in mind when making any future plans. Why is it always business with you, Victus? Couldn't you sometimes just visit and tell me how wonderful everything is? Certainly, Lord Captain. If you are interested, this week passed with a record low rate of minor disturbances on the lower decks. A senior technomag from Shift 8 came up with a new formula for a lubricant used in kitchen server implant maintenance. The quartermaster of Store Compartment 11 reported recently that we are spending ceremonial decorations at least 20% slower than expected, which means we have enough tablecloths, carpets, and lamps to last us 15 years of grand receptions instead of 10, even considering that some of the stock was burned during the cultist attack on the festival, on the vessel. Thank you, Victus. As it pleases you, Lord Captain. That felt so sarcastic, Victus. I approve. I will be right back. My mouth is so dry right now. I need something to drink. Okay. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom. Her uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you could find out what has brought Cassia to the deck? I mean, I guess. I think she's allowed to just wander the ship. She shouldn't be, like, kept in the thing. Oh, that's why Argenta's demolition was so high in mine. It affects agility? That's cool. Hi.
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
I see you are fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing. Urak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works. One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. like a shawl of pale smoke. A faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you. No, no, it is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Perception chest. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes the topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising then that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting. Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying. You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I. I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
Damn. You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad. It's just natural to share them with others.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
Because they were your family.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but my delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
I understand what you're going through. My life was turned upside down not too long ago.
Indeed. I did not know. That is to say, I could not have known, as it is the first time we are speaking in a circumstance so private. My word, when I found this place, it was so full of officers. Why did they all leave?
Perhaps my people did not wish to disturb you.
Or because my presence offends them. Then I must take my leave as well. I am due to inspect the Sanctum Navis after the communion ritual and prepare the chamber for the upcoming warp jump. Thank you for your company.
You're welcome. Bye, Cassia. Level up. Hell yeah. What are you doing? Georgie, you're so weird. You're so weird, Georgie. Let's check out this place. Members of a sacred cult operating aboard the ship have requested an audience. What sacred cult? The Bloodspun Web! I have more pressing matters right now. That is the DLC, I believe. So we have found that this is where we can find them, I guess. The astropathic station is dead ahead of the void ship. It's motionless. There's a lifeless silence across the Vox frequencies. Its lights are out. Even those who have no warp sensitivity can feel the presence of death. It is here, lurking in the shadows. All of this makes reading the reports of the ship astropaths who claim to be hearing an incessant ghostly howl emanating from the station all the more disturbing. Contact the station by Vox. Deploy a scouting team. Enforcers offered their prayers and proceeded to enter the uncanny station. What they saw inside was monstrous. Astropaths upon their thrones, not quite here, not quite now, smudged as it were across time. Servants reliving their horrible deaths again and again, only to be reborn out of the ashes and blood into more agony a moment later. The warp manifested itself here, twisting the very nature of existence. The main hall was covered in a crust of psychic ice. A green-robed, blind old man sat motionless upon a tall throne, and he was quite literally embedded in the ice, yet he was still alive and screaming. Yeah, send Zachary Weiss to the station with a squad of bodyguards. Choirmaster Weiss boarded the station in person and proceeded to the choir's hall. He stood silently for hours in front of the man frozen in ice and held a telepathic conversation with him. Then Master Weiss offered a prayer to the God Emperor, and the unfortunate man passed away. Upon returning to the ship, Weiss reverently presented the Lord Captain with a grim trophy, the late choirmaster's amulet taken from his frozen body after his death. A psychic shriek carrying across the immaterium has been silenced, but this has brought the crew no relief. A chilling realization came to the astropaths when they discovered that the cry was masking a different sound, one more terrifying and surreal. It was the melody of a cataclysm born from a warp storm of titanic power, so intense that the entire expanse must be able to hear it. It muffles astropathic messages and crawls into the psyker's mind, evoking everywhere the same image: a dark, gaping, beastly mouth cleaving the universe in two. Now that the mad choir master has finally stopped screaming, the song of the Immaterium has reached the rogue trader's void ship too. Order the station to be explored. A brief and chilling chronicle of the station's doom was found in the scribe's records. A warp absorbance of monstrous proportions wiped out half the choir at once, turning the astropaths into living portals through which their torrents of immaterium energies poured out. Those who lasted longer bellowed and howled about the black rift that split the universe into before and after, and darkness that would devour the Astronomican's light. Burn everything. Void torpedoes shattered the fragile station. One can only hope that the unfortunate souls captured by the warp have perished along with their home. Yeah, right? Let's go to Riken Minors. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the offers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I can hear Master Viscerin's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. What? This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant, you may address the Lord Captain, not least because you have already seen fit to disturb her. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a high-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrila Vent requesting permission to speak on a matter of extreme importance and earnesty. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary, but I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sauerbeck, who is standing not far behind him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Vesserin and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. There is an insurrection in the making on board my ship and no one has informed me. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she has finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient forces to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, she will quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room? We have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your ladyship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did all this start? The situation could boil over any minute, so I'll give you a condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. Where does the Seneschal come into all this? I shall explain. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order of the way things are done on the ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that I have always It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that I've always handled internal problems myself. So of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Vesserin. Arrests, interrogation, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven people to the brink. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Abelard, what do you have to say? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower deck, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who served its specialized systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource, and one which is now more besides giving succor to cultists and minions of the archenemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rot gut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect of all the neighboring sectors. Master-at-Arms, the ship's enforcers report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. That being said, while I entirely share Master Vesseron's opinion on what fate Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced. Mistress Sourback, I see you've decided to follow the Lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does not do you credit. Lieutenant Sourback explained. The ship's regulations state that the Master-at-Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcers, and yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he has deemed particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for tutelage. I cannot deny Master Vesseron's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate supervisor encourages disregard for hierarchy among your ladyship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master-at-Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow, they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's orders. I notice a pattern in these actions. I mean, yeah. Abelard, do you wish to respond? Mistress Sourback, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey their superior, or one where I would overrule their order, or show favoritism to those who merited none? None, Seneschal, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I have served aboard this ship. If anyone were to claim otherwise, I would have them pay for insulting your honor with blood. Your conduct in this regard have always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the propriety of junior officers, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguish some of them and know them by name is tantamount to walking around the officer's deck handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fills those you set apart with ambition and audacity, makes them stand out amongst the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, the fate entrusted to the commander and no one else. That is the sole foundation of order. Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear that Seneschal Vesseron has never granted me any privilege, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place, he has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sights to ensure that they continue to strive. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it. That is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point. I see. Evidently, my officers are anything but shining example of purity and adherence today. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. Fair enough. I'll go down to the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. Praise the Emperor! Thank you, Lord Captain. An enterprise bordering on sophomoric, but pleases yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and your seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot for myself and see the expedient resolution of this incident. So much reading. So much. Let's level up, take a break from reading for a second. At least out loud. Jesus. That's cool. Mm. Yeah, bleeding, definitely. Let's go ahead and do athletics. Okay, we have endure. Let's do sworn enemy. I like that one. Yeah. I like this. This is useful. Okay, do fellowship. That's pretty cool. Hmm. We'll stay up an officer for now. Hmm. I like that. Hmm. Let's go ahead and do commanding voice to increase the range of voice of command, and then we will increase perception. Okay. All leveled up. Hey, it's Buster, and take that, scum. They threw poop at him. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I deeply regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this.
I won't tolerate weakness. We need to investigate.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk live.
Found him. Okay. What's happening? The sounds of heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avirla Vent of the ship's enforces is barring the path of her superior Master-at-Arms, Jocasta Sauerbeck, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tones, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached a boiling point. Lieutenant Vent, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order, now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under the captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Your ladyship! Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute their subordinates following suit a moment later. I want to speak to the strikers. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck.
Victory awaits.
Dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks who take their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that?
There's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limits, and now they're lashing out. As if we don't know why these top-deck eunuchs are being sent down here. Like that one there, the lieutenant won't let us pass.
Sorry. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who've had just about enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who have risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Their words seem sincere to you. Their body language and glances traded between them reveal that news of the attack has shocked them. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your ladyship. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think.
Shut up, Rivet. Here's the deal, your ladyship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole base for a week. So we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs the spittle with her toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quickly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Vent is the only officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who has grew up among hardships and has no feelings towards us. Your ladyship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly. And now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're asking is to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say? I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there were heretics hiding here. A cultist amulet? What's that? The goo god they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation will be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with, nobody's ever tread these decks in boots so fine, I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots were really fine. And there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here, we all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the server moto. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by tech priests who came fallen. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Naive children. Weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch-enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sectors, it was just after I'd had my 3rd little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when the beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who is not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbors? Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Nevertheless, I'm certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunkard stevedores. They are enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. Sourbeck, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold? The rabble understand only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulation, should the laborers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end they are the source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line, and the need for primitive measures will disappear. What changes do you want?
Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us Bilgerats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been the leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-building thugs can only improve things around here.
You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let maggots on the lower decks live without enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on the enforcers on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies and we'll talk to them. One lower decker to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves.
You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise us the world, but as soon as the Anointed One turns their back, these brutes will be on us harder than ever before. All because we dared to speak out.
The tall worker's eyes dart between two arguing leaders. Every second he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Thoughts, Abelard? The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the arch-enemy. We must not give them what they want. Even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into far graver problem. I've seen it. In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took out an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole units lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break out into the barracks, they found not a single survivor. Only the pocket knife, which had grown through all the rows of beds, like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontent strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple: give them no quarter. Master-at-Arms, give the rabble a Grox and they'll take an Agra-world, Lord Captain. They only understand brute force and will interpret any concession as a sign of weakness. Giving them weapons and recalling the enforcers would be folly. It would only be a matter of time before we had a full-scale mutiny on our hands. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. Old man, listen. The Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue trader. Let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old man. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made up our minds. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers to give us weapons. We don't need any of that.
You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace.
That's great. Just fantastic Fantastic, Lord Captain. We are all agreed. Then it's decided. The persecution will stop, and I will expect you two to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your ladyship, thank you. You have not abandoned us, lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your ladyship will root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers and will leave no stone unturned. Yeah.
Follow my lead.
Out of here. That was so much reading. What? I have urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed the disloyal rabble. You believe their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valancia's protecting? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. I am obliged to speak thus. Who else can point out your errors and offer you counsel? Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora, do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to grand designs for the Proctorate. Any true strategist and rogue trader ought. I would only be too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation has spiraled out of your control, Abelard. You're right. At least concerns junior officers making complaints directly to you. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. The prosperity of the Von Valancia's Protectate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora trusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancements of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, and to aid you. To find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that, I must insulate you from the problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. I have seen plenty of sentiment and hand-wringing in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment or your tried and tested procedures in the future. That seems so harsh. So does this, but it's not completely shutting him out. Yeah, I understand, but you need to learn to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world, or where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I will remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now please let us leave the lower decks. If the Rogue Trader desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places.
It's about time.
Jeez, that was a lot. Abelard? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here because that was so much reading, and I need a break from reading aloud for a bit. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!